I have no business addressing the Call of Duty community on anything. I've made my fair share of mistakes, and even recently with the Modern Warfare beta, I think I've maybe jumped the gun just a little bit, even going as far as to say they should remove stuff like stopping power rounds when I completely forgot my mentality during Black Ops 4, and it's really unfair for me to not kind of extend this same mentality to Modern Warfare, and that was to just, it's the simple act. It's really simple, guys. Try to follow along. Relax. Slow down, give the game a couple months after launch so we can see, how we feel about it. It's fun to talk about hypotheticals and balance and things, but we have to realize the game's not even out yet. And so many people have already decided that Modern Warfare's maps are terrible. But we've only seen 4 out of the 10 traditional maps, 1 out of the 3 ground war maps, and I believe 3 out of the 7, would be 4 out of the 7 gunfight maps. I might be wrong about that. Fact is, we haven't seen them all. We've seen maybe just under half or half. That's about all we've seen of these maps. We don't know. You might hate the 4 traditional maps of the beta, but what about the next 6? And what if they add some remastered maps at launch? Like maybe 2 or 3. The way I take inventory as to whether or not I enjoy maps in Call of Duty, it's after the game's life cycle, when my friends and I just play the game for private matches, just 1v1s or free-for-alls or whatever. The maps that I choose for those private matches are generally the ones that I enjoy, and I find out through that process that I only really like usually half the DLC maps in a Call of Duty game and half the default maps. And I've been thrown for a loop with that as well, because Black Ops 4 had Slums and Summit and Firing Range, 3 of my favorite Call of Duty Black Ops maps, and Black Ops 1 and 2 maps, I guess, and I hated them. I really did hate them in Black Ops 4. I thought they played terribly. Well, that's because the nuances of game design influence maps. I mean, if you have 2 identical Call of Duty games, let's say 2 copies of Black Ops 1, and you want to play on Summit, and one version of Black Ops 1 has 50% less flinch, and the other one has 50% more flinch, both of the maps will play differently. Players will be encouraged to be more or less aggressive, they'll use more or less cover, they'll play slower or faster. Just by increasing flinch, you'll change the way the map plays. Just by changing movement speed, how high can you mantle, it'll change the way the map plays. Going from kill streaks to score streaks will change the way the map plays in objective game modes. It just will. Those are the nuances you can start to detect after playing the game for a while. Not one weekend, not 2 weekends, but a while. It's after you've unlocked every weapon and started playing with them. It's after you've played on every map 20 times each. It's after you've prestiged. It's after you try to complete a challenge or get guns gold. It's after you start doing that can you start to judge the game. It's after the first 2 major updates that come out, the ones that fix balancing issues, optimization problems, map exploits and whatever, those initial updates. That's what's important. And here my dumbass is, going off about how the stopping power rounds need to be removed when I haven't seen them on every gun, I don't know how they're going to play out, and I haven't even been able to go into a private match and see how fast I die with or without it, or how fast I kill with or without it. We don't have any of the testing, and yet I'm talking about it getting removed. That's a dumbass thing to do. And that's a dumbass thing to do. I still agree with the video in the sense that yes, no matter what, it'll create an inconsistency, and if they buff it so that it's more noticeable, I think people will be upset, and if they leave it the way it is, it might be unnoticeable, and it might just as well be removed, and maybe it only works on some guns, and maybe it won't on others. I don't know. The only things I know for sure is that UAV spam is going to be a thing, and that lethals and tacticals being guaranteed will result in more frustrating gameplay moments. How do I know this? It's because every Call of Duty has some form of UAV spam. It's the easiest to get kill streak. Of course, it's gonna be spammed. It's just now more encouraged to use it because you can't even tell if somebody's firing an unsuppressed rifle next to you on the minimap if you don't have a UAV up. People are not punished if there's no UAV up for not being stealthy and building their class to be stealthy. So yeah, people are gonna run UAVs because of that fact. And I don't know if you played COD World War II, I don't know if you played Modern Warfare 3, I don't know if you've played a Call of Duty recently that just guarantees you equipment access, maybe something like Black Ops 4, but there are a lot of people that would rather flashbang a corner that they know you're around than actually get into a head-on-head gunfight with you. I remember playing objective game modes in COD World War II and just getting blown up constantly. And I'm not saying you shouldn't run grenades in objective game mode or that you shouldn't run something like Flak Jacket in objective game mode. I'm saying if I have to sacrifice a perk to run Flak Jacket, I think you need to sacrifice an attachment or something to have the frag grenade. Also, campers having easy access to claymores and landmines will be lots of fun too. See, it's always like, oh, you don't know how to counter grenades. Yeah, but it's not just grenades in that category. it's landmines, it's claymores, and someone camping doesn't need to give up anything to have a claymore behind them. Have fun with that. These are the things I'm confident in. Everything else is going to require playtime. So my message to the Call of Duty community is, even in spite of the things you're confident about, let's slow down. Now, first impressions are important. Talking about things in the context of it being your first impression, using words like so far are great. I'm not trying to be the language police. I'm just saying, can we not be so hyperbolic? I'm going to leave my stopping power video up for now because I actually do like the message about inconsistencies in gunfights. I don't like the fact that I was railing against something in the game that I haven't even seen enough to complain about yet. I didn't even use it enough in the beta to complain about it, and I wish I didn't put that video out, but it still makes a good point about inconsistencies in gunfights, and so I'm leaving it up for that purpose. We haven't seen all the maps, we haven't used all the guns, we haven't used all the perks, we haven't used all the kill streaks, we haven't gotten comfortable with the maps yet, people have not learned how to build classes yet. I'm sure there's tons of people that don't even know that Stippled Grip is so good. The pistol grips and Stippled Grips are perfect for being a running and gunning player. And I imagine a lot of people that said they couldn't be aggressive didn't even think to use those grips. There are still people out there, guys, we have to remember this. There are still people out there that think that FMJ increases damage. I want this game to be better, and I want this game to do well. And if I jump on every emotional impulse I have about the game, that's not gonna happen. We're not gonna get to the destination of having a great Call of Duty game because my feedback will be reactionary and emotional. The topics I bring up will be out of momentary frustration and not a proven fact. I see these different Call of Duty YouTubers talking about what's gonna kill Modern Warfare. Well, nothing killed Infinite Warfare faster than misconceptions and common consensus. And I hated the fact that during Infinite Warfare, I was so bumfuzzled about all of the complaints in the game that that's all I could focus on with my channel, is everybody being mean to Infinite Warfare. Now, I still think people are out of line, misunderstanding, and creating a common consensus not based in fact, but based in a momentary frustration, a momentary emotional reaction, and not an actual learning of the game, not proven fact. We had people getting mad about guns with infinite damage ranges. That's bad, but not looking at the fact that it has lower DPS. People flew off the handle with everything, coming up with hypothetical situations in order to justify their claims, and it was terrible. Infinite Warfare did well by its player base, and it maintained a high player count because it's a Call of Duty game. It was always in the top 20 most played games throughout its life cycle on PlayStation and Xbox from the charts that I looked at. It sold better than its competition. I'm not saying it died. When I say something killed it, I mean killed the hype around it, killed the love around it, killed any possibility of bringing in new people. Because the community let Infinity Ward down, they let the franchise that's built their channels up down, and they gave in to common consensus and blind frustration. And even analytical YouTubers at the time were getting their facts completely wrong and having to issue apology videos. All of that could have been avoided if people took time to learn the game, slow down, and give the game 2 months after launch. If they don't like it personally, that's not my problem. But if they're going to rail against it, if they're going to make a movement out of not playing it, then we have a problem. Then we have irrational behavior times 10. And with Modern Warfare, I don't want to contribute to that. Urging the Call of Duty community never goes well, but I will say that on this channel, I'm going to slow down, I'm going to take my time, and try to provide better, more informed content for you guys with Modern Warfare, and I hope other Call of Duty YouTubers do the same. There are some Call of Duty YouTubers out there where their main source of profit comes from tearing down Call of Duty, making fun of it, laughing at it, getting mad at the developers, the publisher, getting mad at other YouTubers in the community. These people are hyperbolic, inflammatory, and downright unreasonable in most cases. Slowing down and thinking critically will hurt these channels' bottom lines, and I don't expect them to do that. Because these are channels that have built a fan base that will call them sellouts the moment they say anything nice. I say all this knowing full well that there's lots of negativity towards Call of Duty and other shooters on this channel. But there's a difference between being pessimistic or picky and just being pissed for no reason. And I hope you guys can tell the difference, and I hope I've made that difference clear on my channel. If not, I'll do better. I know it sounds like I'm coming from high atop the mountain with the stone slabs with rules on how to act written on them, but I'm really not trying to be pretentious or put on a front here. This is a genuine concern that I have, and you have no reason to trust me because you don't know me, but all you have is my words. That's all I can give on this channel, is my words, and that's where I am at right now. because I care about this franchise, I care about this series, and I've been disappointed by too many games recently. I've been pissed off by too many different developers and publishers. I've been pissed off too much. So I'm going to give Modern Warfare the courtesy that I gave to Black Ops 4, a game I ended up despising later on down the line. But I gave it the courtesy in the beginning to slow down, learn the game, to make sure that my criticisms held more water, and I want to do the same thing for Modern Warfare. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video for whatever reason. I know it's a little bit preachy, I know it sounds pretentious, I know how it sounds. I don't lack 100% of my self-awareness, but now I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. How do you feel about Modern Warfare and the way the community's been reacting to it? Let's keep in mind in the comment section, and keep in mind retroactively for this video, that the community is not one thing. It's millions of individuals with their own opinions and nuances, and if we don't address that, this community will constantly be at the throat of a straw man that it itself has created. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.